reading to you from my book, Chapter 1, called Hallo, Halle. The shrill song of the cicadas was deafening. Sizzling snags, hissed Mo. Did they find whistles and mini maracas in their Christmas crackers this year? The relentless humming of hundreds of the little winged insects clinging to the gum trees kept Mo from his daytime slumber. He was not happy. I'm sure those silly bugs are blowing and shaking thousands of the daft cracker toys with all their might, and all at the same time. Swarms of the bulging-eyed bugs grip the gum trees around his home at this time of the year. Gum trees, also known as eucalypts, grow everywhere in southern Queensland, Australia, and there were dozens standing tall on the gently sloping paddock where Mo lived. A quaint house lay at the top of the rectangular 2-acre plot, and just a stone's throw from the front patio stood a large shipping container. Its cream-colored paint was peeling from the relentless summer sun, revealing the dark green metal beneath. It looked like it was shedding its skin. That's probably why Mo felt so content sleeping under it during the blazing hot days of late December and January. Mo was coiled tightly with his tail covering his eyes, trying to rest on the cool concrete slab under the container. Shush! The little coastal carpet python hissed in frustration, popping his little head out from under his tail. The sound waves of the cicada's high-pitched noise vibrated through his scaly body. I don't even have ears, and their shrieking is melting my brain. He decided to give up trying to sleep. Mo slowly slithered towards the slit of bright daylight shining between the edge of the container and the concrete ahead of him. His small elliptical eye pupils, thin as a strand of hair, protected his sensitive eyes from the glare. The two large, colorful irises resembled the finest polished jade gemstones, each an explosion of cream and gold streaks. He carefully slid to the edge of the concrete slab and peered over the short drop to the long grass below. A familiar, friendly shadow was cast on the ground from the tree above. Immediately his mood improved, and his scaly mouth curled into a little smile. He flickered his forked indigo tongue out into the hot air, then peeked up to say hello to the owner of the shadow. His beloved friend was sitting in her favorite spot in the bottlebrush tree above him. He suddenly paused, puzzled, then cocked his head. Why are you sitting still like a statue, with your beak wide open, Halle? Queried Mo. To keep me cool during these ghastly summer days, responded Halle irritably. She loved sitting in the large shady tree where she could see the whole back paddock. She surveyed all the way past the bird baths and the sun-bleached trampoline, past the rusty guinea fowl pen, and over the fire pit right down to the wide brown river which ran along its bottom border. All the way down, the scattered cicada-encrusted eucalypts stood proudly, offering much-needed shelter to the creatures who called the paddock home. A tall, broad iron-bark tree and some wild fig trees had also planted their roots happily in the moist, muddy riverbank. Halle didn't bother turning her head or shifting her eyes towards the familiar little questioning voice. "Why are you awake, Mo? In the middle of the day, and I should warn you I am feeling peckish," she joked. "The vibrations from the cicadas are rattling my scales," he quickly hissed in disgust, pausing a moment before continuing. "And you wouldn't really eat me, would you?" "No, my little Mo," chuckled Halle. "I suspect you are mostly skin and bones anyway." She angled her fluffy feathered head down so one large brown eye peered at him below. "You really should hunt for prey at night, instead of exploring all the time. Put some meat on those bones." She pondered for a moment, and with a cheeky grin turned her gaze to the large corrugated iron shed next to the house. It had 2 roller doors and a flat iron roof. This was where Mo's brother, Ray, and his sister Leah lived and slept during the day. Now, your brother Ray, he would make a nice juicy snake snack for me. He eats 3 times as many mice as you do. In truth, Halle the kookaburra would never eat the 3 young coastal carpet python siblings. Over the years, she had lost the urge to catch live food, even plump young snakes, which are a particular favorite for kookaburras. After all, the humans who lived in the vast paddock where her favorite bottle brush tree stood provided all the local birds with a smorgasbord of treats for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Halle had been gorging herself on large chunks of peppermints for far too long to bother hunting. Lately, in fact, she had begun to snap at the resident lorikeets and cockatoos. "Oi, I'm just fluffing my feathers," she would respond when they taunted that she was rounder than usual. They all knew she was growing rather plump, but kookaburras can give a nasty bite with their strong curved beaks, so most birds didn't push their luck, wisely returning to their feast of rolled oats, fruit, and sunflower seeds. "I suppose I should hunt more," admitted Mo, "but there's just far too much to discover in this wondrous world for me to waste time searching for a motley mouse." Although she acted tough, gruff, and would normally be a snake's worst nightmare, Halle secretly loved sharing her wisdom and care with the 3 snakelets. Young Mo was the smallest of the 3 carpet pythons and had a unique shape in his gorgeous patterned skin. Halle, a creature of far flights and travels herself, had aptly pointed out that if one looked closely, it perfectly resembled the outline of the Australian landmass. "You know, Mo," reflected Halle, "speaking of your unusual taste for adventure, I'm not at all surprised you have that Australian-shaped pattern on your back. You're like an intrepid explorer with his map at the ready. A lot like your mother, I reckon." "My mother enjoyed exploring too, Halle?" Mo asked in surprise. "Oh my, yes. She had to wrap herself and shiver around you babies for 2 months while you were eggs. And she complained," Halle explained. "She is also a real go-getter, just like you, and often said she hated being stuck in one place too long. But she made sure you were safe and cared for before she went off looking for adventure." Halle smiled at him. She wondered if he longed to know his mum. "Odd for snakes, really. What with the eggs and the exploring, it's like you and Mum have a bit of bird in you." Mo smiled back. He liked the idea of being family with Halle. The plump, laughing kookaburra had met Mo, Ray, and Leah's mum a couple of years before, down near the river edge whilst guarding her eggs. She was a glossy, gleaming python with exquisite camouflage. Her scales were a patchwork of greens, yellows, and blacks, perfect for the long grass and shadowy trees. She also had a unique golden caramel streak running along her sides like a thick thread woven into a tapestry. Halle reckoned Mo's mum was big enough to have easily made a meal of her instead of the other way around. The 2 creatures developed a mutual respect as solitary hunters, one by day, the other by night, and soon became close friends. Mo's mum explained to Halle that she must shiver over her eggs to keep them a stable temperature and healthy, but she would have to leave them as soon as they were ready to hatch. Halle assured her she would keep a keen kookaburra eye on her babies. When they were born, Halle named them Mo, Ray, and Leah, after the human scientific genus for carpet pythons, Moralia. She once overheard the humans talking about snake names and was very proud of herself for remembering that one. Mo was now extra excited. His mum, who he knew so little about, was an explorer too. He was itching for another adventure around the paddock, imagining how his mum might have done it. "I think I might make my way down to the riverbank now, Halle. I could do with a cool down in the shade of the ironbark, and I'm sure Susie will be down there." The muddy, reed-lined river bent along the bottom edge of the paddock. It joined a much larger tidal river, known today as the Brisbane River, not far down its meandering course, which flowed into the Pacific Ocean. It was one of Mo's favorite adventure spots, as he would often see interesting birds and sometimes fish jumping clear out of the water at high tide, leaving a big splash and frightening the wood ducks paddling along. Feeling confident it was now safe to move, as snakes always need to be alert, Mo carefully slithered his way from under the shipping container into the hot sunlight, keeping an eye out for the pesky, noisy minor birds that always seem to know when snakes are on the move, screeching and ranting to raise the alarm. He thought he better check his plan with Halle. It was the middle of the day after all. If I make my way through the long grass under your tree to the passion fruit vine on the fence, I should make it to the river easy peasy. What do you think? He hoped she would agree. Great idea, she answered gently, but I'll keep a close eye out for any troublemakers from up here, and I'll swoop down with a snip-snap if you need me. Mo's little smile curled up once more, and with a wiggle of his thin tail tip to thank Halle, he slowly slithered from under the container, disappearing into the thick grass. All Halle could see was the waving of the blades of grass as he moved. The cicada's call completely drowned out the cracking of leaves and sticks that might give away his location. The passion fruit vine, which grew along the western paddock fence leading down to the river, was heavy with sweet fruit and bouncy, lush green leaves. As he reached the vine, Mo thought how the leaves were like little hands stretching out to the ground, offering to give him a lift. He climbed up and disappeared into the greenery, heading down towards the river. His forked tongue touched the ripe passion fruit along the way. They're a bit yummy, he whispered. As newly hatched snakelets, Mo, Ray, and Leah quickly discovered they have a very special forked tongue. It helps them taste and smell everything around them, all at the same time. Even when they flicker it in the air, they taste and smell things. They learned to flicker, 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 then pull it into their mouths, rubbing the two fork tips on a special gland on the roof of their mouths. The sweet taste of the fruit in the humid air gave Mo a burst of excitement. Not only could he smell and taste the fruit, but he could also smell any animals that had been near the vine lately, like the human's white dogs, or a green tree frog looking for a bug to eat. "I can smell Susie," he cheered. "She must have scuttled past here this morning. I can't wait to see her and tell her about my mum."